What's up, everybody? I'm Camarray.
And I'm Zaiah. And this is the Music Report Card, where albums are reviewed based on the vocals, the lyrics,
the production, and the vibe. You know, the je ne sais quoi. Is it too long, too short? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Alright, today, y'all, we're going to be reviewing Pop Smoke's new album, Shoot for the Stars,
Aim for the Moon.
But first, we got to talk about a little news.
Let's talk about the news. First up in this week's news, we've got to congratulate the beautiful women of Destiny's Child, Beyonce, Kelly, Michelle, Latoya, Latavia. They are RIAA's most certified girl group in history. That means TLC, the Spice Girls, all of them.
It's crazy.
They've recently updated their information in songs like Jumpin' Jumpin', Bugaboo, Say My Name. All those hits have elevated into new certification. So major congratulations. Shouts out to the DC3, you know what I'm saying?
In other news, August Alsina, as you all know, recently made claims that he was in a relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith. So she has now confirmed that they were actually in a relationship. What's your thoughts about that?
I think that he honestly did it to promote his album, which unfortunately it did not help. But I feel like he also had some, I don't know if you want to call it trauma or whatever. And he just wanted to get his story out. I understand it. So I think it may have come at a price for Will and Jada. But I think with the Red Table Talk, I think they kind of explained how they were going through what their relationship was at that point. And I think it helps bring clarity to what, the situation at hand was. So, I mean, I think now it makes sense. I don't have any fault for anybody in the situation. I mean, do what you gotta do. Love who you love.
Yeah, when he initially came out and said something, I kind of took a little bit of issue with it, just because I don't think it's your place to really. I get telling your story and healing from trauma, but there's another way I feel that you can do that without going public with it. But I also do, now looking back at it, I do like that Jada and Will were able to sit down and kind of heal through some of that and talk through some of that. Yeah. I think it's just important for the world to kind of understand where they are as well, because there's been a lot of confusion and a lot of talks about different things in their relationship. So I think it's nice that they kind of clear some of that up.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into the album of the week. We've got Pop Smoke's posthumous album, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, executive produced by the 50 Cent with features from Quavo, like 10 times on the album. Right. We've got Roddy Ricch, we've got King Combs, Tyga, a lot of great features. So let's go ahead and talk about it. I'll start with my favorites. Diana featuring King Combs. I feel like the song is so great. It's so nostalgic. I love the sample of Play It Cheers to You. A lot of you guys may or may not know that song, but it was an amazing song. If you have not heard Play It Cheers to You featuring Static Major, R.I.P. Static Major as well. An incredible song. I think the delivery of King Combs gives that nice 90s feel. Pop Smoke's verse was amazing. I feel like that song, in my opinion, would have made the album whether he was alive or not. It's just an incredibly crafted song. That's my first. That's my top favorite. What you think?
It's not my top favorite, but I do love the song. I love Cheers to You. I remember hearing that song at a younger age, but it's still a great song nonetheless.
Alright, so my next song that I loved was The Woo featuring 50 Cent and Roddy Ricch, which I think it's very fitting that the song that 50 and Pop Smoke kind of got together for the purpose of production and featuring on this album. Because I feel like Pop Smoke really, in a lot of ways, kind of mirrors what 50 was back in the early 2000s. And I think that the pairing of the two on this track is just an amazing pair. I think they both gave incredible, and Roddy Ricch, I can't forget him. All gave very dynamic verses, hip hop lyrics that I feel are very, very, very good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just say that was one of my favorites as well. I like the way it rides. It's just the feeling of it.
It does.
It's the groove of the song more so than the lyrics for me on that particular song. The groove just really captures me. So that's one of my favorites. I'll go ahead and enter that in while we talk about it. So.
All right, my next favorite, which I love for hip hop music. I'm a lyricist. I love the art of lyricism and the play on words and things of that nature. So 44 Bulldog, for me, lyrically, really shows where Pop Smoke shines. I think it's important to note that Pop Smoke really didn't. He wasn't like into rapping like since he was a 10-year-old or something. He was really just kind of starting to make his way in the music industry, and I think that that's important to note. So with the 44 Bulldog, I think it all makes sense. We'll get into some of the downfalls of the album, and I feel like lyrically there were some downfalls, but ultimately I feel like that song lyrically really makes sense and gives the listener some eargasm. So that's my last favorite that I would like to mention.
I feel like I lied to you when I said Diana wasn't one of my favorites. I think it actually is.
Of course
now
it is.
I'm thinking about it. I think it actually is. That and the Woo actually are two of my. I have to. I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, that's bring it back. Give me, whoa, not Woo, but whoa. Okay, but yeah, 44 Bulldog. I liked it as well. I won't say as much about it as you had to say about it because I can't wait to get to probably my favorite song of the album. So you go ahead.
Go ahead. That was it.
Oh, okay. So For the Night. I know. I don't know how you feel about it, but I know for me, lyrically, I sometimes it feels good as a song, but also it just reminds me of when I was younger. So I grew up in a place that was, all you seen was fighting. You went out, there was shooting, there was all this type of stuff. So it brings back this young,
nostalgic,
negative side of me that I don't want to necessarily be a part of that anymore, of that lifestyle or anything, but I still remember what it was like being in that, and I almost was at a place in life where I got this urge from wanting to fight or wanting to, be around people shooting, and I became almost a part of that lifestyle. That's what I knew. So it just kind of brings back this moment of me thinking about my friends, us all in the car together, just riding down the street, listening to all this ratchet music, talking about fighting and this and that. And when there was about to be a fight, we turn on something, that would get people, that would instigate it almost. We'd pull up, everybody would be outside, and you pull up and you play some fight music that would pretty much make stuff pop off and help it pop off. And I know that's kind of bad to say, but it that's what I like about For the Night. What do you think?
Okay, so For the Night, I do like the song. I think that I want to say a couple of things with For the Night. I have a couple of things to say about For the Night. I love the baby's verse, right? I think that with what Pop Smoke delivered and then the baby following it up, it all makes sense. And I'm just gonna leave it there. Lyrically, the baby killed it. I'm like a new the baby fan because I feel like he's one of the ones of the newer generation that really gets it lyrically. What I will say though is I really didn't like Lil Baby's verse. I felt like it was kind of like they were like, okay, Lil Baby, we need a verse. Let's throw it together and let's just put it on here. Because honestly, his verse doesn't match the baby or Pop Smoke's verse, and so I feel like that was one of the missteps for me of the album, and where I feel like maybe management and whomever else had a hand in putting the album together were just trying to fill it in. And I don't know. I think Lil Baby's verse. I don't know. I don't know if I blame him or if I blame the powers that be that had anything to do with making the album. But I would have said, hey, we need a different verse. This doesn't really fit the flow of the song. But overall, I think Pop Smoke and
Hold on, we're not just gonna skate over the fact that you just tried to downplay Lil Baby's verse.
It was what it did. It was a great verse, but it doesn't fit the song.
I disagree. I think that's the other thing too. Lil Baby and Da Baby, I really like both of them as well, and I've listened to a lot of their music. But I think Lil Baby actually announced that for a feature now, it's 6 figures, like 100,000 for a feature, and he's worked hard to get to that point.
He needs to discount because the verse was trash.
No, I don't agree.
The verse was. No, I'm sorry. The verse wasn't trash.
Oh, okay.
The verse was good. The verse was good, but it just doesn't fit the flow and the meaning of the song. And I feel like the Baby like really hit on what Pop Smoke was talking about in the song. So again, great verse, but throw it over there to Nicki or something. I don't know.
Nah, we can move on from this because we're not gonna agree on this one.
All right. Well, do you have any other tops, or can we talk about some of the mishaps?
We can move on. I think that's for the night. Diana in the
wait till I give my money.
Yep.
Right.
I thought about that too.
Who was that? Kanye West. Wow. Yep. I didn't pick that up till this now.
It's not the same, but it's similar. But
yeah. All right. So I think the major downfalls for me, without question, are some of the lyrics. I think it's important to say that Pop Smoke was not a part of the full production of the album. Of course, his untimely death came before the album was complete. I actually believe this was supposed to be a mixtape that he was following up to with the Woo 1 and the Woo 2. This was supposed to be the Woo 3. The powers that be wanted to rush a project out just because he was gaining a lot of popularity with his last mixtape with the song with Nicki and all of that. But I'll dive right in. There's a line on Gangsters where I think the song is amazing. I think he was talking his shit. He was popping. He was gangster. He was talking all of that, choppers, and all that. But in the middle of the song, he has a lyric that says, if you ain't got your nails done, you're not it. Automatically on the block list. And then he goes back into his gangster shit. And it's just like, how does that fit in telling the story of this gangster lifestyle? Like, you just throwing this line in about a woman and her nails not being done. It's just like, that to me shows I hate to say immaturity, but the immaturity of him as a songwriter and as a lyricist. I think that unfortunately there's a lot of those types of lines. I think there's even a line on one of the songs, What You Know About Love. What You Know About Love, he says, look baby, I said I ain't gonna front. You got my heart beating so fast to words I can't pronounce. And I was just like, huh? Like, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I guess I'm more of a lyricist. I like wordplay and I like things that I like words and flows that make sense. And even, I know every line doesn't have to rhyme.
Yeah.
But there was even a lot of times where it was like, he would be spitting something so hard and then he would follow up with the line that didn't rhyme. It felt like it was supposed to. And like, if he had been more creative, that it would have connected. And I don't know.
But I think where we are in music and where we've been kind of for the past 5-7 years, maybe, you see a lot of that. You see people just being free to just say what they want to say, and sometimes they go off track a little bit with things. As far as Gangsta is concerned, I feel like, yeah, he went from talking about the hood and this and this and that, but he's also throwing in something that ties the females from the hood in there. Like, if you're a female and your nails ain't done, ain't no gangsta about to be messing with you, because that's what gangsters are attracted to. You get what I'm saying? I get that it's kind of out of place, but
very out of place.
You get what I'm saying? But I feel like that's what's happening in music. People are just saying whatever and doing whatever, and it's about a vibe or a feel.
Does that make it right though?
Not necessarily, because I'm big on lyrics also, but at the same time, I think that lifestyle is that lifestyle, and maybe you won't understand it because you're not a part of that lifestyle.
I figured you would say something like that, but I feel like that's like saying that because I wasn't a gangster selling dope, that I couldn't get into Biggie or Jay, or because I wasn't, whoever, that I couldn't get into anybody else, or if you never been in love, you can't listen to K. Michelle. Like, I don't think I don't think that that's a valid reason. I think if you dissect music for what it is, it just is what it is, and you can be a fan of the groove and of the vibe of a certain record or a certain artist, But if you dissect and you look at lyric for lyric, I don't think there's anybody that's going to come up and say, unfortunately, maybe he would have got there if he was not killed, but I don't think anybody's going to come up and say Pop Smoke was my favorite rapper. I don't know any young
I could agree with that.
That would say that.
I could definitely agree with that. But I also think that he wasn't in his prime. He never made it to his prime.
I agree.
So that's a part of where, unfortunately, his career was ended way too soon. Career and life were ended way too soon. Let's move on to the grading. The way the grading is going to work is we are going to grade from 0 to 5 based on the vocals, lyrics,
the production, and the vibe, the full everything about the album. Is it too long? Is it too short? Album fillers, etc., etc., etc. You guys know how we get down.
So once we give our grades, then we'll also turn around and give a calculation of the overall score and what that translates into as far as a percentage is concerned in grade.
All right, so let's get started.
So let's talk about the vocals first. So I gave a 4.5 overall for the vocals. I think his sound, as far as the album is concerned, he has a great sound. His voice is definitely dope. I think it would have, it's commanding, but I think over time, had he still been around, it would have just developed more and more and just came across on an actual album or song just so dope. I think it would have been amazing.
Yeah, I gave him a 4. I think, again, a very, very distinctive voice that, again, commands audiences. What I will say is, and the reason I gave him a 4 is I feel that a lot of times I have a problem with rappers that seem to just coast and give the same kind of flow throughout the album or other tracks, whatever the case may be. And I feel like he could have given us some diversity. But of course, again, he did not have a huge part in putting the album together. But from what we are presented, I'm going to give him a 4.
All right, so next is lyrics. Lyrics, I gave a 3.5. I think overall, even though I can still relate to some of the lyrics, they're still kind of simple in terms of other rappers that I really like and really enjoy lyrically. And I ended up at a 3.5 with my grade.
All right, so as you may guess, mine is going to be a little lower, and I'm going to talk about why just a little bit. I gave him a 2 for lyrics. And it's not just, it's a part of him. And I feel like I mentioned earlier in the video, some of the lyrics didn't quite connect for me. Some of them were out of place. But I feel like anytime you have the amount of incredible artists that you have featured on this album, I feel like it should have been a smash out of the gate. Like, I feel like everybody that, whether the song was produced before or after his death, I feel like they should have all came, and it should have been undeniable smashes from everybody. Like, I feel like 50 could have stepped it up. He did great, but he could have stepped it up. I feel like Lil Baby could have stepped it up. There's just a lot of lyrical content that I feel like people that came in, Quavo, everybody that came in afterwards to help push the project could have done a lot better. So I have to fault Pop Smoke in some of his lyrics that didn't quite make sense, but then I've also got to give a little bit to the featured artist, because he's got some heavy hitters on here, and I just feel like everybody could have came harder there.
Do you think if Pop Smoke was around and he would have approved their lyrics, or do you think he would have challenged them as well?
No, I think, hopefully, I would hope that he would have done what the essence, gave some of the essence of hip hop, where, I don't know if you've heard stories where there's stories of, let's say, LL Cool J, I think on 4321, way back in the day, I think he shot the song to, let's say, DMX and Cannabis. They sent their verses back, and he was like, oh, nah, you're not going to give me all my own shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he went back and rewrote his verses. And so I think there would have been some of that, hopefully, if he was still alive. And I think that would have pushed for a better project.
All right, so we can move on to production.
Production, I think, musically, again, he's got some amazing samples. We only talked about Cheers to You, but there's a Genuine Differences sample on there, and a couple other great samples. So I feel like production-wise, I mean, bar none, I think it is an amazing job on production.
Yeah, what did you give him though?
Oh, I gave him a 4 on production.
Yeah, and I'm in line with you. I gave him a 4 as well. I think, I second pretty much everything you said. They did it overall, production-wise, it was done well.
Yeah, and I think, too, production wise. I think, and it's a lot of, I think some of his fans may disagree, but I think whoever had a hand in the production of the actual music got where he should have been going album wise, and trying to take him out of the norm of what he was known for. So again, I think hats off to whoever produced. Shouts out to 52 for executive producing it. So great job, guys.
What are you giving for the vibe or the sonic flow?
Okay, so for the vibe, I think that there were a lot of songs that could have been done without. There were a lot of what I consider album fillers on the album. I feel like the intro was kind of weak. The outro was kind of weak. So overall, I gave the flow of the album, I gave it a 2. Again, a kind of low number, but again, I'm listening to this as a music fan, guys. I'm not trying to, again, I wish he were here to have put the final stamp on it, because I think he would have been an incredible artist. But based on what is presented to me here, I'm going to go with the 2 for the whole flow of the album.
Yeah, I think that the flow was, I mean, it was cool. It still feels good and it flows decent for me. But I think the problem is that it does sound a lot like a mixtape, which I think you mentioned. Mm-hmm. And the flow for me, I gave a 3 for the flow. I think it was just kind of average. It wasn't too far on one side or the other for me. It flowed good. I listened to it multiple times and it felt good, but at the same time, it still felt kind of mixtape-ish, where you have these tracks that are just like very short tracks in between.
And they cut off.
And then they cut off, and it's like, wait, I was just kind of starting to feel that, and you took that away from me. I didn't get a moment to really marinate in that. So, so I kind of agree with you on the flow.
Yeah.
So when we calculate all of that together, that gives him an overall. What's the overall number?
67.5.
Okay.
And if
based on our grading scale, what does that land?
That's gonna give him a D+. Don't shoot at us, fans.
Yeah, I think that's a realistic grade for something that he actually didn't have his full hand in. I mean, to be honest, it's you're kind of going. Other people are coming and adding stuff in and putting what they believe to be true on it, and I just think that. It's not. I don't think it's a full reflection of Pop Smoke. I think it also is a reflection of what other artists did and brought to the table to make this thing come to happen. So
and I want to throw this in here too. And another reason that I think the grade is so low for me, I actually went back and listened to his first 2 mixtapes, and I felt like I don't know if they could have been released as albums, but I feel like those projects were more wholesome and more whatever you want to call it, than this album. So again, I think it tells a lot about the hands that were put into the project, and why the grade is so low, why the quality is so low. But Brooklyn, we love you.
Yeah, either way, please comment on the video. Let us know what you think. Please hit the like, definitely subscribe, and share it with your friends.
That's right. This has been the Music Report Card. I'm Camarray.
And I'm Zaiah.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace out, y'all.